All right, free radicals, thanks for tuning in. My name is Dave, and this is the Radical Independent. Please subscribe if you can to keep this channel going, because it's at a tipping point. $3 to $4 a day is what we're earning over here, and I need your support. If you can at least watch the videos and subscribe. I can't do much about demonetization. I have already started to upload some content that was demonetized here over on my Rockfin channel, which again, you can subscribe to Rockfin, get some great content over there. People like Graham Elwood, Ron Placone, and those two guys I really enjoy. There are some other people over there that I've had disagreements with, but you will find their content to be 100 times better than the neoliberal garbage that you're going to get at your usual media places. In any event, I think this video is an important video. I think Tulsi Gabbard has a window of opportunity because of stuff like this. Progressives are frustrated with Bernie's capitulation strategy. Now, I have been fairly complimentary of Bernie Sanders over the last couple of weeks. He seems to be doing well in the polls. It's almost as if people are finally making up their minds and saying, you know what? Bernie's got plans. Bernie's got ideas. The problem with Bernie Sanders isn't the fact that he's got, ideas that I disagree with, because most of his ideas I do agree with. The problem with Bernie Sanders is he's decided to go in with the neoliberal establishment. This, of course, is a still frame from the now famous DNC Unity Fund video. Just the positioning of these guys on screen here, it's disturbing. Bernie is put between the two billionaires, Steyer and Bloomberg, and up above them is Mayor Pete and supposed frontrunner Joe Biden, who again has support that's a mile wide but like an eighth of an inch deep. All right, and these are people that you can reach with Tulsi Gabbard's message. Notice that Tulsi is not in the Democratic Unity Fund video. And there's the backstabber Elizabeth Warren. There's Bill Maher's favorite candidate, our compromise candidate, Hillary 2.0 for sure, Amy Klobuchar. Please stop lecturing me about how progressive Tom Steyer is. I don't care. I don't care. He's spending his own money to make money. He's an entrepreneur. He made most of his wealth in the coal industry. Okay? So if you think he's going to stop climate change, I got news for you. And of course, Bloomberg, whose ads are annoying, all right? I got news for Bloomberg and Steyer. They're in this because their egos can't stand to see this other billionaire, Trump, doing what they believe they can do better. It's about ego. It's not about saving or helping the country. The only guy, well, you got Andrew Yang over here, who, again, I like Andrew Yang. His foreign policy to me is disturbing. All right, and I'm just going to... Look, it's too late now to mince words. It's too late to kind of tiptoe around the tulips. Bernie is the only person in this group who I could see myself voting for. The problem is Bernie keeps hanging out with these people like, hey, I'm one of them. Hey, it's okay. Bernie said the other day, anyone on this stage would be better than Trump. I got news for you. Mayor Pete would not be better than Donald Trump. Joe Biden would not be better than Donald Trump. Deval Patrick basically would run the country like Mitt Romney would run the country if he were elected. Minus all of these little neoliberal pet peeve wedge issues that these people throw at you, and they'll do identity politics all day long, 7 days a week, dividing the country even more and creating this animus where it didn't exist before. Okay, we know Cory Booker is out, thankfully. Elizabeth Warren, I'm sorry. Elizabeth Warren would not be better than Donald Trump. I'm just saying it. Bernie would be, and Tulsi Gabbard would be. And as time goes on, I think some of the Bernie people are starting to realize that Bernie doesn't have a backbone. All right? They're very strong when it comes to, condemning other candidates and people who say, hey, Bernie's got issues. And if you challenge them, the people come back and they hit you hard, but they hit you a lot harder than Bernie is going to hit. So his supporters have more energy and more enthusiasm, I think, than he does. I'm just saying, I think he's a little too docile. I think this is why progressives are getting frustrated, because Bernie's campaign has made a calculation. It's saying that, you know what, we court a few of these neoliberals over. We go along with some of this resistance crap. We talk about Trump and impeachment, how he's the most dangerous and corrupt and da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, the whole government is dangerous and corrupt. Trump is not the problem. He's a symptom of the problem. All right? Donald Trump is a symptom. All right? Donald Trump, people voted for Donald Trump because he was not an insider. He was not. You may say, oh, yeah, he was. He ran businesses and he dealt with the government. But he was just this goofy real estate guy who, had his own TV show, and he had a lot of this P.T. Barnum going on, and he still does. And people would rather see, by the way, the greatest show on earth, which is Trump. I mean, who's more exciting on television, Elizabeth Warren or Donald Trump? You can go through all of these people. Bernie can be kind of funny and interesting when he's being Bernie, but when he's being focus tested, and his advisors are saying, hey, you can't say that anymore, Bernie, then again, the progressives are going to be very frustrated with Bernie Sanders. And they're going to wonder, what happened to the Bernie that we used to know? Or, gee, if Bernie would just stay on message against the establishment, he could maintain my support. This is where Tulsi Gabbard comes in. Tulsi Gabbard's a better candidate. Tulsi Gabbard's message has been consistent throughout. Tulsi Gabbard is not pictured here on the DNC Unity Fund video. She's not on it. You know why? Because she's got principles. That's why she's not on it. Because she doesn't relate to any of these people other than maybe Bernie to some degree. All right? Tulsi is out on her own. She is the one true independent voice in this campaign who is not going to capitulate to the establishment and just go along to get along. That's not... Now, look, I know she signed the pledge. I get this a lot. People come back, well, she did sign the pledge that she'll support the nominee. Here's the thing. You can come out with a statement the day after and say, well, whoever the nominee is, I wish them the best of luck against Trump. It'd be nice to defeat Trump. Have a great day. And that's it. Or you can go out on the campaign trail and stand side by side with them, much like Bernie Sanders did with Hillary Clinton in 2016. And people are very eager to point that out to me. They're like, Dave, I know you're saying you like Bernie these days, but, he's the one that campaigned with Hillary Clinton. He's the one whose campaign slogan, by the way, is the opposite of what Clinton did. The opposite. He learned not to say, I'm with her. He said, not me, us. He did that on purpose. That slogan was a direct finger to the eyeball of Hillary Clinton and her campaign strategy. The problem is, though, Bernie is schizophrenic. At one moment, he's very Bernie. The next minute, he's very neoliberal, like, I want to be Tom Steyer. All right? And I don't understand what his campaign is doing. But here's the deal. It's a huge opening for Tulsi Gabbard. If Tulsi Gabbard can hit double digits in New Hampshire, and this is what I'm saying. So again, if you haven't given to her campaign, dig deep, okay? Shell out some bucks. We need to get her some money so she can put more ads up in New Hampshire. Tulsi Gabbard is running substance ads. She's talking about war, the cost of war, the endless war. Look, New Hampshire has a lot of libertarian voters, a lot of Green Party people up there, people who are off the grid when it comes to the two-party system. And it's time we get there too. I mean, as I've told people, if it's not Bernie, if it's not Tulsi, and honestly, it could still be Bernie, and I might not be able to hang on. I might just say, look, this guy is going to fold like a cheap suit, all right? And we need somebody who's going to fight. And based on what I've seen so far, since either of these candidates declared that one is a fighter and the other one fights sometimes, but then bends to the will of the establishment, the fact that he appeared in this ad almost seems like his campaign has been compromised. Seriously. It almost seems as though the establishment has infiltrated his campaign. They're saying, look, you can be the figurehead and you can spout all of your, your populist nonsense, but at the end of the day, once you get elected, we're in there and we're taking over. And what I fear even more is that Bernie picks Elizabeth Warren. If Bernie picks Warren as the VP, if he gets that far and he picks Warren, it's game over for me. No way. Green Party, I'll write Tulsi in, whatever it is I need to do to satisfy my conscience, I'll do that. All right? But there's a reason that progressives are frustrated with Bernie. It's because they're worried that he's really not that much of a fighter. Now, I know he's been saying the same things consistently his whole life, but I worry too that he's not really a free speech warrior, because a lot of his supporters are part of the whole cancel culture. You can't say that. You're never going to appeal to Trump voters or to anybody who's not in your narrow little group, all right, your little clique. And you're not going to branch out unless you begin to understand that not everybody sees the world the exact same way. That on the big issues, you bring forth that big domestic agenda, and in Tulsi's case, she ties the foreign policy agenda into the domestic agenda, and to me, it's a win-win. And not only do you get better policy out of Tulsi, but you also get somebody who looks like they're willing to do push-ups and just and just completely win any kind of a contest, whether it's push-ups, arm wrestling. And I'm saying that metaphorically. I mean, she can do more push-ups than any of these candidates on stage for sure, but I think she's going to do more work and harder work for the American people once she gets elected. She's going to have the battle of her lifetime if she's in the Oval Office, all right? Because she's going to have to stare down the entire foreign policy establishment who've been sent to Washington, D.C. for decades to make sure and ensure the status quo remains. And it will be, I think, the biggest task any president has ever had to do. And quite honestly, I would fear for her safety. I would fear, just like JFK, I would fear for people who go in there and say, you know what? We need health care for the people. And then you've got all of this revolt. You've got the insurance industry going crazy. Tulsi Gabbard is the only person, I think, who can stand up to these people. So there is a big window of opportunity as more and more Bernie supporters get frustrated with his lack of a coherent, consistent campaign strategy. Not necessarily the messaging, but things like this. I mean, for many people, seeing Bernie Sanders in between Tom Steyer and Mike Bloomberg in this ridiculous ad, after he supposedly blasted both of these guys for trying to buy in to the election, it shows that he's all over the place and it's schizophrenic, and I'd rather have a consistent, more independent, and quite honestly, for you progressives, I think Tulsi Gabbard is more progressive on the issues that count. I really do. And I think she does it in a way that doesn't push aside all the ideas from various factions, various political factions. I think she's inclusive enough in the way she constructs her arguments that people are willing to give her a hearing. Whereas sometimes Bernie and the whole socialist, all of that messaging, I think sometimes really turns people off. So, again, there's a window here for Tulsi, and we all have to help her and support her. I'm not giving up. I know I've done some videos where I have felt defeated, and I look at some of the Tulsi supporters, and sometimes I think some of you guys are a little bit too glib. I think you're a little bit too, blind to some of the, even Tulsi Gabbard said, she's not naive to the challenges that lie before us. And I think we've got to be, vigilant on one side, and on the other side, we got to be also, we have to do reality checks and see where we're at. And maybe that should inspire us to work even harder. So that's my video. Again, if you can subscribe to the channel, like the channel, all that good stuff, it would be helpful. Hit the bell if you want notifications. Patreon and PayPal. Yes, I'm going to try to remember to put the email in there just in a few minutes. So as this uploads, hopefully I'll get the details right. And I appreciate everybody watching. I'll be back soon, and don't forget to check me out over on Rockfin as well. The Radical Independent. That would be me, and it might even be you if you're actually still watching this channel. All right, see you soon.